Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video. This week, it's a rivalry renewed as the Philadelphia Eagles take on the New York Giants. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. It's the Eagles and the Giants, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Let's say your small business has a problem, like maybe one of your doggy daycare customers had an accident. You might say something like,
"Doggone it!
Hi, Chihuahua!"
Holy schnauzers!
But if you need someone who can actually help, just say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
And get help filing a claim from your local State Farm agent. For your small business insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause I'm not gonna have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. All the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, the community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you like or you dislike, shoot us a quick take on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And then speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but baseball season, the playoffs are here, and you got to go check out some of this playoff ball. But look, man, I know I said Detroit to Chicago, but we going all the way to Cincinnati today because I got a special guest with me out here from Spectrum News, sports reporter Travis Hicks. What's going on with you, man? How you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. Excited to be back on the pod, man. You do such a great job. So it's always an honor talking sports with you, man. And a lot of great sports, especially from my hometown, Detroit, even though I'm in Cincy now, that I know we're going to catch up on. So super excited.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to have you on, and it's crazy, man. You're out there in Cincy, and I mean, so what? You about to be a Bengals fan now? You gonna stay with the hometown team, or who you gonna cheer for?
Staying with the hometown team. Always gonna be a Lions fan. But I will be honest, when Joe Burrow comes back, that offense will be lethal because Jake Browning is not the ideal guy, but Jamar Chase, T. Higgins with Joe Burrow, that's gonna be a dangerous trio.
It is. It for sure will. Well, anyway, look. So this game that happened tonight, man. Speaking of, I'm talking about which team you go favor and which team you go like. Well, the hometown team seemed to have the full advantage tonight because they smacked up the Bengals, ended up winning 37-24 in Cincinnati. So crazy game, but just kind of want to go over some positives, negatives from the Lions perspective. And then also too, we could throw in some from the Bengals perspective. So what's like one of the first things you've seen from the game where you like, all right, this was great from this team specifically, whether it's the Lions or the Bengals?
I got to go hometown team first. I'm going to say this might be a big take, but I just think it is. Gibbs and Montgomery are the greatest running back duo of all time.
All right, bro. Come on, man.
They are. No, hear me out. They've proved it time and time. You got to see your face, but I'm going to tell you why. They just had their 14th game where each one of them has at least one touchdown each. That is amazing. Gibbs is the best running back in the league right now, in my opinion. And Montgomery, there's no better second option. They keep proving it week in and week out. The Lions have scored 34 or more points since week one, and that's due to the running game. Jared Goff's playing outstanding football too. And John Morton was just as good as Ben Johnson. I have to, I've been seeing it crystal clear in my eyes.
All right, I am okay, some of these things, let's break this down because I agree with you to an extent on, this take here, and some things I disagree with. So first, I want to give, new offensive coordinator his flowers and stuff. I think a lot of people didn't really expect him to come in and continue this dominance from the Lions offense, truth be told. So definitely can agree there that he's doing his thing. The duo of Montgomery and Gibbs, I can even give you that they're the best running back duo because we just haven't seen teams we haven't seen teams be able to do that successfully. A lot of teams have a great backfield and a great running back room, but they haven't been able to really incorporate both backs into the game plan that's extremely effective. So, for example, I think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they do have some great running backs over there, but they're just not able to incorporate it in an offense where they're both as dangerous every single time they're on the field, like we see what the Lions do with Montgomery and Gibbs. Also, my team, Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, great running backs, but really Bijan is the only one getting to the shine, and that's what brings me to my point that you made here you said Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in the league so far. No, I can't let that slide because that title goes to Bijan Robinson. Gotta give it to Bijan. He's leading the league right now in all total yards, and this man has been just insane so far this season with a worse O-line than the Lions have. So I gotta give it to Bijan, and maybe we'll have to revisit the conversation. But I don't want to stray away too far from what we initially started talking about, which was Bengals and Lions. But we'll revisit this conversation here with, best running back in the league. But I think that is a crucial element to the Lions offense. That was one of the things I had as the positives in their game for sure, especially in this matchup with the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, I think it was an interesting game. The offense played so well. Defense, most of the game, played well to the fourth quarter. Yeah. And as you see, the Bengals scored 21 points. Jake Browning was able to find Jamar Chase on a few great deep passes. And the one catch he had for the first touchdown, Jamar Chase caught an incredible ball. So defense has to get a little bit better. But one thing I'll say, another big thing I noticed, Hutch is back. Hutch is back. This man was on his way to win a Defensive Player of the Year last year, before he broke his leg. Now this year, I think he's just going to be back in that running. I'm so happy to see him back at full strength. Another thing I want to say, Penei Sewell is one of the best players in the league. That every time when he's blocking, it sets the tone for the entire, offense. So that's one thing. The Lions, they're starting to hit the right strides at the right time. And this team is dangerous, man. I'm honestly, this might sound crazy. What I've watched today, I'm happy that they lost week one the way they did because they needed that growing pain to kind of showcase no, we're still the same team even without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, John Moore, like you said, with the offense, he's been killing it. Still coming up with some great plays and really having them show out and show up. So it's one of them things where you definitely got to give them their flowers. I think Kelvin Shepard on the defensive end has been doing a great job as well. And initially coming into the season, one of the things I thought was it's going to be very difficult for this Lions team to come in and stink it up with new coordinators, considering how much talent they have on both sides of the ball. I know a lot of people was worried about, is he going to be able to do this? And is he going to be able to do this? Is the offense going to be the same defense? What would it look like? But to me, I was the Lions still stand a good chance of being dominant, mainly because they have so much talent on both ends of the ball. The personnel they have on the O-line is great. Obviously, we know who they have on the backfield and receiving options. They have a lot of talent over there. And same for the defensive side of the ball. So to me, I didn't really think it would be these coordinators will come in and play terrible. Now, week one, like you said, I was oh man, I don't know what's going on, with this team week one. But ultimately, when they stepped it up, coming and hanging up all these high scoring games against teams, that really, shakes the tree a little bit, and it really make people realize okay, they just had one bad game. So some of the things too, I want to break down is like the positives, negatives here. And one of the I'm gonna start with the negatives actually, because I gotta, let me just be a Daryl the Downer real quick on this team. I'm always trying to be the antagonist, but Jared Goff got sacked 3 times. I thought the offensive line did a terrible job at protecting Jared Goff. At certain times, they did good. Obviously, running the ball, they did pretty decent. But a team who's like the Bengals, almost worst defense in the NFL, 3rd worst defense in the NFL statistically. Oh, man, I thought that was a very bad look that Goff got sacked 3 times. And then also, too, defensively, Terry Arnold, man. Oh, man, this dude. Yeah. That one hit a nerve. That one hit a nerve.
I don't think he should be in the NFL. I think he's just really bad.
That's great. That is crazy. Terry Arnold, 2 penalties on like crucial downs. We talking 3rd downs. That would have been a good stop. We talking sacks and safeties that would have been, just monumental in terms of making the score look even worse than what it did. But ultimately, all of these things got called back because of holding calls and just silly penalties. But I will say, yeah, we talking about him when we say he doesn't look good, but he's injured. Now he's injured, and that's just another thing. That's kind of got to go on the negatives of, man, you can't watch a Lions game without people getting injured nowadays.
And that's one thing you no matter if a player's playing bad or good, we'd never wish injuries on nobody because we know how physical football is. Like we saw the hit with Khalif Raymond, like his neck. I was worried. I was like, man, I'm praying he's okay. You never want to even see a Terry Arnold. I know I just said about him, but he did have some highlights. So he did make some like decent plays today, and I'm hoping he can keep that momentum because you got to be healthy to win. We saw this last year when the Lions went 15-2, and one of the main reasons they lost that divisional round game to the Commanders, they weren't healthy. They had over 20-plus guys on IR, mainly from defense. So I think health is going to be the biggest thing. And one other key I saw for positive for the Lions today, they are, in my opinion, the second-best team in the NFC behind the Eagles. The reason why I'm still giving Eagles that reign is because they're the defending champs. I know they lost today, but they're still 4-1, and they're finding ways to win games, regardless if you like Hurts or not. They're winning games, so you got to give them that respect. But the Lions, if they can stay healthy, I do believe they can win the NFC.
Okay,
today they showed me that they can win it.
Okay. Now, I'm glad you brought that up because this makes me think. A lot of people in the beginning of the season thought, okay, you lose both coordinators. No way they're going to go back and have success in the playoffs. Like, the championship window is over. So you think that window is still open?
Yes. I'll be honest, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't sure because I wanted to see how they were. And even after the first game, I didn't jump ship. But now 5 games in, them winning 4 straight 4-1 against good teams, yes, the Lions are the championship window's open. I would say this year, in my opinion, has to be the year because you never know how many opportunities you can have at the Super Bowl unless you have a generational quarterback like a Mahomes who's been to 5 or Brady who went to 10. We see a lot of different teams every year. The one thing that's great about the NFL is a lot of parity. So Lions, they got to get it this year.
Yeah, I think it's very crucial. I was also one of the people who said Lions missed their Super Bowl window. I was, hooting and hollering about it. I'm like, they didn't get it the past few years. And one year they let the 49ers come back. And the following year they got beat by the rookie. I'm like, oh, it's over with. I'm like, because contract time is going to be coming up pretty soon for a lot of the guys they drafted 2021, 2022. These contracts going to be coming up. And, yeah, you might have money to pay 1 or 2 people or maybe even 3 people. But, things get tricky when it's time to negotiate different deals. So that's one of the things I take into consideration. And then also just everybody around the league. Right now, you got a lot of injuries going on in the NFC. Even in the AFC as well. So I think, obviously, these injuries is happening to the Lions too. But it's going to be tough, man, throughout the course of the season as teams get healthy and go down and all of that. Like, you just never really know how it's going to unfold. But I think so far, man, the Lions done proved that they still on the right track. So I'm not mad at the Super Bowl window being open, and I think I would definitely have to admit I was wrong in that sense early on in the season and through the offseason of saying the Lions missed their Super Bowl window. So I ain't afraid to say I was wrong in that sense. But another thing here for the Bengals. So we look at the Bengals. Let's turn it around. And this is a team, they've been struggling, man. Bengals obviously lost Joe Burrow, who's their starting quarterback. So right now they're 2-3, just lost to the Lions, and Jake Browning is the quarterback. Like, is it time for a change? Do they need to start hitting people up and look for another quarterback or what?
I would say yes right now. I wouldn't get rid of Joe Burrow by any means. I think Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. A little bit biased, being here in Cincy, but he's the guy who got you to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow is that guy, but right now, until he's back, I believe in December, they said, with the toe, I would get another quarterback right now. I would try to, get somebody who's like a backup who can't, who's, not really getting that PT, because Jake Browning's just not that guy. At first, and I know this is like a curveball, but I was like, what if they got Shador? But Shador's not going to want to be behind, Joe Burrow forever. He would only just get those games. So if they do get a QB, I think that you need to get somebody who knows that come December that, the job is going to go back to Joe Burrow. Preferably, and I'm saying this because of how he's playing, Mac Jones would have been ideal because you see what he's doing with the 49ers. In replace of Brock Purdy. I thought he would have been perfect for the Bengals because right now, if you keep starting Jake Browning, I hate saying it, you could miss the playoffs this year because you start off 2-0 with Burrow. Now you've lost 3 straight games.
They definitely going to miss the playoffs if they continue to start Jake Browning because Jake Browning threw 6 interceptions in the last few games. So he was just giving away free money against the Lions here. And that was also, I thought about that a lot in this game too. It was kind of weird to me that Lions did have so many turnovers, like in terms of the defense forced so many turnovers, but the score, personally, I feel like the score should have been a little bit worse. Considering Jake Browning gave them like 2 or 3 interceptions. I felt like it should have been a little bit worse, but that's just me.
Oh, no, I agree with you, man. If we're being real, if you take away the 2 big plays from Jamar Chase's 14 points right there, then you're looking at a 37-10 win. Because, Jamar Chase got the 60-yard touchdown, then the one at the back of the end zone for the first one, which was a nice play.
Man.
I mean, if you take those 2 away, the defense really played lights out because the Bengals did score 21 in the third quarter. So the score was closer than what it really felt like because it felt like a 40-10 win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was rough, man. I thought Lions were gonna pull away at any moment and get 50, how they be trying to do, and run it up on people. I thought that was coming very soon, but I mean, obviously it didn't unfold like that. But with the backup quarterback thing, kind of going back to that with the whole Jake Browning, what if I told you I had the perfect candidate for the Cincinnati Bengals?
I would ask you, who was that?
And I would tell you that the perfect candidate for the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow being out is Kirk Cousins, damn it. He's sitting on the bench with the Atlanta Falcons not doing anything. He's chilling right now. He's just waiting to get back on the field and show somebody that he knows how to play. The Cincinnati Bengals will give him that perfect opportunity in the perfect location because guess what they got? Wide receivers. They got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They got crazy options over there. Even Chase Brown is a good option to hand the ball off to. I know they have a terrible O-line, but sometimes that O-line does give a little bit of time, which we've seen Jake Browning have in this previous game. But with all of that being said, I know he has a big contract as well. It would just honestly help keep those postseason hopes alive for the Cincinnati Bengals if they did bring in Kirk Cousins, because this is a guy who, I mean, he's still elite in the league. Like when you talk about what he's done and what he can do in the NFL.
Honestly, Manny, we might not have the same agreements on a lot of takes, but you hit the ball 100%. I agree. Kirk Cousins, that's a perfect fit, because when you think about it, this is a man who's made postseason runs in Minnesota.
Random.
Before he started playing bad, in Atlanta, he played good at the beginning last year. So Kirk Cousins has had his moments, and honestly, this is a man who's played with Justin Jefferson. In most people's eyes, the top guy as far as receivers in the league. So giving him a Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, especially with the veteran mindset, I think Kirk Cousins would be perfect. Now, the thing is with Kirk Cousins, he's not used to being benched outside of last year. Like, I don't know if you watched the quarterback series on Netflix.
Yeah.
That got to him mentally. If Kirk Cousins comes to Cincinnati, hypothetically, get you some wins and say they're like 8-4 by the time Burrow comes back and they're on a win streak, is he going to really want to sit back down? That's one thing to take in consideration. But if he's willing to go in there and just perform the rest of October and November, then you got something.
So here's the thing. Here's where I think about when I come back to, when Joe Burrow does come back. Joe Burrow has this turf toe thing. Obviously, it's not sustainable when he comes back in December and even plays. Like, that's not even sustainable for him to do. like that injury causes for surgery. Like he should go get the surgery and should have just been out for the season. But obviously I get the competitiveness. You want to go help your team. You got a lot to prove because you were injured last year. So you just want to you just want to play football. I get that narrative and I get that perspective. But even if Kirk Cousins does go to the Bengals, tears it up, Joe Burrow comes back in December, who's to say a guy who's been hurt in the last 3 seasons every single season doesn't get hurt again? Like, to me, that's a better location to be a backup quarterback than the Atlanta Falcons if I'm Kirk Cousins. And at least during that time, you'll get to showcase how much skill you still have. Because right now with Michael Penix Jr., like, he's probably not going to get another shot at starting with the Atlanta Falcons at all. So I just think about, like, with Kirk Cousins, if you're going to be a backup, at least be a backup somewhere you can play. And, like, for a quarterback who's always up and down. Personally, that's just the way I think of that situation.
I think that's a great move because Kirk Cousins, like we said, has that veteran experience, someone who's been to the postseason. And the Bengals are still in win now mode. You got a prime T. Higgins, you got a prime Jamar Chase. Both these guys got paid, so they're here to stay. You got to do something with that core. Like the Bengals, when you look at their track record, they made the Super Bowl in the 21-22 year. And the next year they lost an AFC title game. And the next 2 years after that, including this season, it's been injuries. And so we haven't been able to see them grow. And really that sparks up a question when you talk about Joe Burrow being injury prone. Is their window at a Super Bowl closing? Because Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't going to get younger. They're still great. I'm not saying they're not declining, but it's like how many years of their prime are you going to waste with Joe Burrow's injuries? Yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now, and a lot of people are not going to like it, but no, the Bengals Super Bowl window is done. I know I say this about a lot of teams. They like, oh, is their Super Bowl window open? I'm like, no, there's man, Bengals don't have enough defense for their Super Bowl window to still have some longevity because Hendrickson is about to be gone next year. They signed him to a 1-year deal just to keep him here for this season because they couldn't figure out how much else they were going to pay him. But best believe Bengals don't have the salary cap to even pay for Hendrickson, who's a force on that defense. So he's out of there as soon as somebody like the Cowboys, Eagles, hopefully the Falcons or the Lions or somebody offering him some money to come play defense. Bengals don't have it. They invested all their money into 3 or 4 players. So soon as he got up for negotiation, he's done. They're not bringing him back. And they just don't have enough defense, I don't think. They don't have enough wealth to go around because they've invested it in only like 4 or 5 players on the offense. So, I get it. It's very impactful 4 to 5 players, but it does take a full team to be able to win a Super Bowl. So that's like why I think the Bengals Super Bowl window is done.
And I mean, you make a good point because they put all their money really in Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. Now, those are 3 all-time guys in my opinion. But you need more than that to win a championship because when we see last year, even when the Bengals finished 9-8 and they finished the season on that 5-game win streak, Burrow's putting up 40 points, like the offense putting up 40 points a game, but the defense allowing 45. So it's like, they got hot late, kind of at the wrong time because they lost a lot of close games they should have won, but it was because of defense. So yeah, I see what you mean. Being a little, being here in Cincinnati, I hope the window's not done because I truly believe Joe Burrow. If we're being honest, this might be a hot take, but I don't really think it is if you look at the numbers. If the Bengals made the playoffs and had a better record last year, Joe Burrow could have easily been the MVP. His numbers were just as good as Josh Allen's, if not better, than him or Lamar Jackson. Definitely. So it's tough right now because this would be the time to win a Super Bowl because of the injuries we saw around the league. The Ravens, have, obviously Lamar Jackson's not playing, other injuries, with other teams. So it makes a good point. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you, especially about the MVP thing. Man, I couldn't agree more. And I think for your sake and for just Joe Burrow's sake and for the sake of good football, honestly, I hope he is healthy come December, and I hope they make a good run, and I hope he can stay healthy. And honestly, that's what's really going to determine if that Super Bowl window is open or closed, how much Joe Burrow can stay healthy because we've seen him get all the way to the Super Bowl with a bad O-line. So I'm sure he can make something else happen. But other than that, look, man, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump into who's the true contenders early on through Week 5. It's a lot of noise going on. Some teams playing bad, some teams playing good. So we'll jump into that. We'll discuss all of that. But above all, man, Travis is staying here with me. So we're going to jump into this new segment in just a sec, but we'll take a quick break first. It's halftime. We'll be right back.
Let's say your small business has a problem, like maybe one of your doggy daycare customers had an accident. You might say something like,
Doggone it.
Hi, Chihuahua.
Holy schnauzers.
but if you need someone who can actually help, just say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and get help filing a claim from your local State Farm agent. For your small business insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.